Okay, let's have a bit of a small introduction. I use Silhouette Studio, the business edition. That gives access to a couple more tools that I think are worthwhile. It costs about $100 to upgrade. Is it worth it? Well, it saved me learning another program, so I guess it is. And now I've got it, it's not on a monthly. So, just a couple of things. What we'll do, have a look at the group up here. You've got various panels that are available, various options for the viewpoint. In the preferences, there's only a few that I change. I always have it set to millimeters, show the dimensions. I run the print resolution at 600 dpi, and that's only because when I import an image at 600 dpi that I've scanned, it comes in full size. I know what it'll be. I also have up here the ruler turned on, so the ruler is visible on the right hand side and at the top, and that does actually become quite handy once you start doing a few more things. Default save location, I always save it to the hard drive instead of the library or the cloud. So the rest of these are fairly self-explanatory, and I'll leave it up to you. A lot of this don't worry about. These are your fairly standard options, and same here. I checked for updates, and in advanced, there's not a great deal. So once I've made the change, I'll apply the change for millimeters, click OK. I guess after that, what can we do with it? If we go down here on the left hand side, we've got all various options. So we've got the cursor option to select and drag, or we've got a wand, so anything within there will be selected. We've got the ability to edit points, and points are created from these objects. So we've got various shapes. We've got lines, endless line, free flowing curves, arcs, squares, rectangles, all of these sorts of things. So we can draw ellipses and stars or polygons. We've got all of these sorts of shapes with various options. So we might have an option to make it smaller, rotate it, make it smaller, so you could do it like a radial saw or something like that. Number of teeth on the saw. There's various options. So while that's still selected, I'll just hit delete. So you can see there's lots of various options here. Ones I use, stuff like the star, and this comes in handy if you want to do various crosses, such as the star in the US national insignia. There's no way to actually get it precise as in a drawing package, a proper drawing package, but this does a reasonable job. Reasonable. So there's a 5-pointed star that you could draw. Let's see, you could draw a circle around. I'll select that. Up. So once I get the hand highlight, I can then drag it. So that might be to make the start building up a cross, national insignia. So undo, move back, exit point mode. So with various things like that, you can see how you can build shapes up very quickly. What I'm going to do is I'll import a file. So I'm going to import a scan that I've got. Let me see. scans, John's Tamiya Sky Raiders. So I've got this one here. So until I start cutting it, you can just move the image around and there's no issue. Now I just hold down the Alt button and that gives me the option to move it around a little bit. So the Alt button with the wheel on the mouse. So how do I cut these out? There's a couple of ways. I can come over to the trace panel, select the trace area, anything within there, trace, and there you go. The problem with that is, as you can see, you got rounded areas, and the font isn't really like that. It shouldn't be like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo that. We do that again. So we've got that information in there, but we can make some differences just on the threshold and on the high pass. The high pass makes a bit of a difference. Give it a try. We hit trace. Let's see. Yeah, it's still pretty crap. So Control Z to undo, Control Z to undo that. Right. So on these ones, for me, it's just far easier to draw around it. So I've selected not a single line, but a continuous line. Just click there, 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 there. So it can be fairly quick on depending on what it is that you're doing. The underline font is good to have in place. So there's one there. So let's do the 7 and the 2 very quickly. There's that, and we'll start here. Now once I've done this, I'll show you a couple of things very quickly. I'll make an obvious error. And I'll show you how to correct that. Now on an aircraft you probably require 2 sets of these. So there's that one there. So I'm going to move the image out of the way. It looks a little bit better, apart from this of course. So let's have a look. Let's go into point mode, edit mode rather, and we're going to select that object. So all of those, that point there to there is one individual line, so that's one individual cut. When you do it, when you use the trace function, sometimes you can end up with really a hell of a lot of cut lines, and that can make a difference. So I'm going to select that line there, and I want to delete that. So I just hit the delete key. There we go. Now in this one here, I don't need that line. I don't need that cut point, because it's far better. You'll get a straight line from here to here. So just delete that cut. There we go. Now you can see that this is slightly off. We just grab it with the mouse. You say anything else doesn't look quite vertical, doesn't look quite horizontal. You can just grab each point and move them around. So it's fairly straightforward to do this. So exit the point mode, the edit mode, grab that. There we go, and we've edited the 572. Now as an aircraft we need 2 of these, as I say. So I'll just select all of them, Control C on PC, Control, what is it, the Option key I think, on Mac, and then move it. Now while it's still highlighted, don't do anything, but you want to just move in to grab it, and you'll see the cursor changes. That means the entire object that was copied and pasted is now live, so we can grab it. There we go. So we've got two of them now, and those two are identical. So that's a fairly straightforward way of doing some. As I say, you're not sure, you think that one needs a bit more work, go into the point mode. Now with these lines, if you select the point, we're now working on that line, what you've got is the make flat or the make curve line. Make curve, when it does the trace, is something that does make them curvy, and we don't want that. So if we do that, there you go. So you can see some of the options that can be done. I don't want make curve, I just want a straight one, so make flat. There we go. So there's 572 as required. So I'll select just by drawing around them. Ah, idiot, didn't work. I'll do it this way. They're all gone. So what else do we have? I'm going to zoom out a bit. Now I'm going to draw some circles. Imagine a round L from say World War II. We'll just draw now those should be having the same origin, because if we come over to the panels, which is the page setup over here, I've got snap to guides. So those circles are all concentric, are they? Let's have a look. Go into point edit mode. Oh no, tell a lie, they're not concentric. Oh yes they are. What do you know? They're not. Anyway, the good thing about this is that when we zoom in, let's select that circle there. So with this circle selected, oh well, let's zoom out of it. First of all, you can see here that's 7.98 mil in diameter. So I want to let's see, there's something I want to see. View. Yep. Right, so we can do that. Part of the panel's missing, because normally when you do this you can actually set the origin. So up here somewhere will be the information about the select by color. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So that's not available on the circles then. So you'd have to make sure that these are aligned a different way, because what you've got is the width and height of the circle here, but this is your origin. So you can draw another one here. If we select That one. Oh no, it's not happening. So the next thing we might want to do is have a look at drawing squares, rectangles, anything like that. So if we put that, we might want to click there and move it inside there. So various things like that, and then draw around it, and we select all of them, or we can just select the inner one and take that out. So just select it first, then delete. What I might do now is let's open, say, a panel, and we'll do some numbers and letters. So if I hold down the Alt key, and I might want 35297 NE572. Now I could trace that. It wouldn't be particularly good, and I'll show you why. I'm going to turn on the trace panel. I'm going to select the trace area, hit trace. Let's trace outer edge. Now with my cursor I'm grabbing the picture, moving it out of the way, and up we come. And you can see all of these parts are rounded. This is an issue with trace. It's possible to undo it. There's all of the issues. So each one of these is a cut, start or end, and you've got various issues there. So let's highlight that. We don't want it to be a curve, we want it to be a flat. Come here, want it to be flat. I'm going to delete that one, delete that one, make that one flat, make that one flat. So you can see it can be done, but I really can't be bothered. When it comes down to simple shapes like this, it's just a case of I'm going to undo it all. So I won't select that. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit further. I'm going to select a tool here, a continuous line, start there, so these just make straight lines, so it saves a lot of time editing just by doing a trace. And all of these points can be edited, so you can clean them up later. So I'm just doing very rough. And the important thing to realize is that whilst it looks big on the screen, if we have a look here, that is up here, it's about 31 mil over to there, which is almost 36 mil. So in real life that's only about 5 mil. So you can see that cleaning that up and moving it around a touch is going to be affecting perhaps 1/100th of a mil in real life. So there's a case of, you know, accuracy and time. So let's do the 572. last one. And the good thing about these numbers so far is there's no internal patch that requires the Cricut transfer film. All of these are just straight masks. If we have a look at the 9 in the number above, you'll see there we got to cut out that internal hole, and it's that internal mask that needs to be aligned with the rest of the mask, and that's what causes a little bit of a problem. So if we come up to the 9, pardon. So if we have a look here, up on the ruler, that edge is almost 15 mil, that edge is 12 mil. So this number is in reality is 3 millimeters inside in size. This mask is, the internal mask will be perhaps 2 mil. That's going to be a very tough one for the, well, for the way I've got my cutter set up to do. It's just not feasible for me to do it. Now I'm fine with these numbers being done, so I select, go back to the select cursor up there, I'm selecting the image. If I delete the image, and there we go, that's what I've cut out. So those are the cut paths for what I need. Pardon me. Now obviously as an aircraft you need 2 of them, so drag around them, Control C to copy, or Option C on a Mac, and there we go. Now while it's still highlighted, I need to highlight, I don't do the original one because that one is different to that, to that. But this selection of this one, and this one is all selected by this box. So if I grab that, there we go, we've got 2 identical sets. Same with that one, Control C, Control V, move that around, and there we go, we've got 2 9s. So that's how basic stuff can be done. Okay, just back, let's try something else. Say an insignia. I'm just holding down the Alt and zooming in. So you can see up here, this is roughly, that point there is 40, that point there is just under 53, so that entire distance is 13 millimeters. So it gives you an idea of how small this thing actually is. So there's a few ways that this can be done. Let's try the trace area. Let's have a look, see if it works. We'll trace, and you can see there, yeah, pretty crap. But let's have a look at what we can do if we go to edit points. Now I'm going to leave the image in place, that way we can always see where it is. So we want that to be make flat, that one there we're going to delete, that one there we're going to make flat, this one here, that one there, delete, bring it down here, make flat, make flat, make flat, make flat. Right, so that gets us in the ballpark. You can see previously a better way to do this. It would be nice if there was an easier way, you know, just as the default when it does a trace to do this, but I haven't found one and I'm not going to mess around with it that much. So I'm going to make flat there. That one needs to be make flat. Now I'll undo that one, but that point there I'm going to get rid of. So that's one entire flat line. So drag that down, make flat, that's good, make flat, right. What is going on with this now? Ah, there's a point in there, that's what. So we'll get rid of that point. There's a point in here somewhere. Now, we're going to drag that point down there. Going to insert a point there. Flat. Going to get rid of that one. Place that point there, make flat. Place that point there, make flat. I'm going to put a point in there. Oh, don't want that one. I grabbed the wrong bar. Select that one. Select that one. Select that one. Now make that one flat. So you can see it's just a bit time consuming. It's what it is. The hard part about doing this, really, is just finding if there's any files online that someone has done. If you can, I moved the image, so I'll Control Z, put the image back where it was. Want that. Delete that. Delete that. So now make that flat. So that doesn't look too bad. Let's tidy this one up. Make it flat. Delete that. Select that. Make it flat. So now we just adjust these. Get rid of that middle one. Get rid of that middle one, get rid of that middle one, get rid of that middle one. So now we've got a roundel which, yeah, looks a little bit better. So there's a roundel copied. Now I'm going to move the image out of the way, or I can actually delete it. So just select, let's move it. Now I don't want these parts, so I need to go in and select them. I do that just by delete, 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 delete. Same here, delete them. So there we go. We've got a roundel. Roundel. I've got a US national insignia. Now let's go find out how big this is. Now you can see it's not quite parallel, so we'll adjust one of them. Might adjust that one up, bring it up a touch. So here we go. We're looking at 40.5 millimeters to just over 53. So you're looking at about 12 millimeters, that in size in real life. Now each one of these is a cut mark. Depending on how you trace, you may end up with loads of cut marks, and delete as many of them as you can, because it can be a nightmare, especially if you've got overcut turned on, and that's something that I do have. So let's have a look at overcut. I'm going to send this now to my printer. Let's zoom out and see where it actually is on the mat. Dear. Some days they work, some days they don't. Right. So if I come into, let's see. Now I'm going to use Oramask 810. On my, if I come back to design a minute, I'll show you something. I need the page setup menu. I'm going to grab that. If I put a piece of mask here and just print it there, it will print in that location. The only thing is that wastes a lot of mask in vinyl, and you just got to hope that the piece you put in is the correct location. So move it to the top left, do that, and I'd advise you, when you're happy with it, actually save it as John's Sky Raider, and we might call this test to be deleted, so that if nothing else you can come back to this. Now I select Oramask 810. These are the various settings, and over here I've got overcut. So if we have a look here, this down here, when you're doing stars and bars for instance, and you need nice precise 90-degree corners, the blade has to pivot, so you end up with a rounded corner. The overcut forces it to cut in a straight line, slightly too long, lift, get back to the right location, go 0.1, however much you decide, to before the proper line starts, put the blade down and then drive down. So that gives you 90-degree corners as opposed to slightly rounded ones. I had a few issues with my F4 Phantom, and I eventually figured out it's the line segment overcut. So I cut about 0.1 extra too long, and that forces the cut to occur. So at this point, I'm happy with the Aura mask. Yeah, that's all fine. Get rid of that. So I've got the blade depth, force, the speed, and the passes. I only make one pass. If I make two passes, it really causes issues. It's really not worth it. And then when I'm all ready to print, I would hit send. Now I don't have the carriage ready on mine, which is why the send button's not highlighted. So imagine you cut it out, you eject it, but you've still got a big sheet of Aura mask on there. What you would do then is work out where this one is. Let's zoom in a bit. So the far edge is at, say, 25 mil. All we're going to do is move the object 25 mil. Make sure it's past there on the ruler. Then you can go back in after you've made corrections, whatever you need to do, and cut it again. And you go back and forth until you're finally happy. Yep, that's all working fine. And the thing is, if we hit Control C and then Control C, Control V, so we've got 4 of these ready to be done now. The other thing that I would do is put a square around them. That way you've got a mask. So I'm going to get rid of these. So that provides the mask for all of this. So there's a cut line there. Now what I'm going to do, select all of it, Control C, Control V. So there's, I need, say, 2 for the fuselage, 2 for the wings. Yep. Now I need to make sure I got that one with some days it wants to play up, doesn't it? Today is that day. So I'll move that one. Control V. Move that one. Control V. Okay. So now I've got 4 of them. These are all ready to go. Go to send. All done. Cut them out. And I save these, you know. Once something is set up correctly, I'll just save it, because you never know when you're going to come back to it. So do a cut, come back. Testing showed there's still an issue with these masks. So the 4 of them are fine, and you've made an alteration in here somewhere to get better cuts. Well, you don't want to recut in that area again. So over here it's at 65. We know that if we grab all of them, as long as I go past 65, we'll be fine. So we can cut, and then the previous ones were there, and then the first one was there. So this is a way of just utilizing the vinyl. If you got any questions, give me a hoy. I don't know everything about this at all, believe me, but these are little things that I found that are worthwhile. The trace function comes with I think it's the Design Studio, not the Business Edition. I don't think you have that on the basic one, but as I say, it's up to you whether you want that or not. But good luck. Catch you later.